Welcome into another edition of The Butcher versus the Dance Instructor presented by LB's Meat Market. You can tell I'm in a hurry. We got stuff to get to here in a minute on the big show. I'm Neil McCready, joined by Greg Jones, LB's Meat Market. Caroline McCready joins us from Fayetteville. She's got dance stuff going on. She's got a monster delivery about to happen at Kyo. And we got stuff to talk about, too. Besides the games, we got games to talk about. Should be a lot of fun. Ole Miss hitting the road to go to Arkansas this weekend, 11 a.m. ESPN. We'll obviously pick that game in a minute. We'll talk about that game in a minute. But frankly, we have things far more important than Ole Miss and Arkansas football to get to. We'll talk about that in a moment as well. First, I do want to tell you about LB's Meat Market because that's the reason we're here. LB's Meat Market, 2008 University Avenue in Oxford, right across the street from Kroger. Yeah, I know there's some traffic and craziness on University. I get it. It's worth the trip to get to LB's. You'll be glad you did. Budget yourself a few extra minutes in, unless it's the Oklahoma weekend, at which point budget yourself an hour extra to get in. But it won't be Oklahoma weekend again. Hey, kudos, by the way, to all the Sooners fans who came. Tons and tons of people, and everybody was super nice, the people that I ran into from OU. So it was a fun weekend of partying and football and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I think everybody had just an overall good time. Oxford is hard not to have a good time in Oxford. I mean, I had some friends come from California, and then they were like, walked in the Grove, and people were offering them drinks and stuff, and being from California, they're like, they're not used to that, and so they went to the game, and they sat next to this old Southern lady and had a Southern drawl. She's like, "I'm so glad y'all are here and y'all are having a fun." So yeah, it was a good time. But yeah, it's just Oxford's tough to beat, man. It's a fun place to have.
It's like LB's is tough to beat. They got the freshest cuts of beef, pork, chicken. They got seafood. They've got the house-made sausages that you just have to try. Really, whatever you like in terms of sausages, chicken sausage, pork sausage, whatever. They've got different varieties. If you like it spicy, they got it spicy. If you want it not spicy, they got that too. All at LB's. Just get in touch with Greg and the people there, and they'll steer you the right direction. The stuffed jalapenos, the stuffed mushrooms, the bacon wrapped asparagus, so much more at LB's Meat Market. Don't forget you can text in your order. 662-259-2999. You'll get 10% off your order just by sending a text. You can be antisocial and save money by texting Greg. Just tell them what you want and when you want to pick it up.
Yep, absolutely. Every single time.
Caroline, how are you?
I'm good. I'm very busy, but I'm excited for this weekend.
How's what's going on with dance real quick? Give us an update of what's happening at dance.
This week, they're all dressing up for Halloween, so it's a little bit distracting. But we had a good practice yesterday.
Good.
And then I treated them to popsicles afterwards. And
did you have to pull the Santa card? You didn't have to pull the Santa card?
Not yet. I'm going to pull that next week.
Okay. Yeah, you got to get through Halloween.
But they don't have dance tomorrow. I'm really excited for a break. They don't have dance because they're going to trick or treat.
Yeah, you can't dance on. Can't do dance on Halloween. There'd be no focus at all. That'd be a complete disaster and a waste of time. That's just the right thing to do. Just go take.
Yeah, no one would be there. So
completely dismiss that.
Good coaching right there. Good coaching.
Absolutely. Know when to practice your team and when not to practice your team. Good. All right, so we got stuff to dive into. Oxford was hopping last week. We talked about the football game. Ole Miss won 26-14. You both got it right, by the way. You both predicted Oklahoma would cover. They did. So kudos to both of you. But forget football for a minute. I want to start here. Caroline, Kevin Costner. Do you know who that is?
No.
See, Greg, I knew this was going to happen. This is
no wonder you said stop talking about it. That's awesome.
This is generational. So Kevin Costner, Caroline, is an absolute movie.
Wait, maybe bring up one of his movies and maybe she might think.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right. Bull Durham.
Field of Dreams. Waterworld.
No, I've heard of Field of Dreams, not Waterworld.
Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves.
No.
The Bodyguard.
Nope.
Okay, For Love of the Game.
For the Love of the Game. Billy Chapel is my favorite. You know what I love most about that movie is the Vince Scully doing the movie. Like it was
Greg.
kind of like his calling, like going out too. Like
It's my favorite movie ever, and I will watch it and admit that it's horrible. And I love it. The love story in that movie is so bad.
So bad.
So bad. Like Kelly Preston, may she rest in peace, was horrible in that movie and just ruined it. But Vin Scully and the baseball scene,
every cut through to him was, and then they'd show the game. I mean, I don't know.
And when he cuts up his hand and he says, he says to her, I need the
doctor. I need the team doctor. I need the team doctor.
And she's all brokenhearted because, didn't you need me? It's like, no, he's a major league pitcher and he's trying to save his hand. You can't do anything right now. God. And then she shows up at the place and he calls her and he says, hey, come see me. And she's like, no.
And then he throws the ball.
Well, and then when she shows up unannounced after she said she wasn't coming and the masseuse is there and she acts like he's cheating on her. And it's like, you just rejected him. It's just so horrible. And then he's trying to throw the ball and she's like, why can't you just give up baseball? And why can't I be enough? And
she's like, do you ever lose? And he's like, yeah, I've lost like 200 some odd times.
Yeah. And she goes, you count? In baseball, we count everything. Baseball pitcher. It's such a good movie. All right, Caroline, I know you don't know who Kevin Costner is, but this is going to be the lesson for our listeners.
Yellowstone. Surely she knows Yellowstone.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
So you don't know who Kevin Costner is?
Yep, I do not.
You know, and he was in Oxford. Pookie and Jet were also in Oxford over the weekend, and I'm going to guess that while Greg and I can really dive deep into the career of Kevin Costner, you can tell us all about Pookie and Jet and why we should know who the hell they are.
They have blown up on social media recently. Hold on, let me go. Pookie and Jet.
Who would have thought that they blew up on social media? What an awesome
Her name is actually Campbell.
Yep.
And then his name is Jet. But Jet is like a businessman. He's like a finance guy. And he went to Georgia and was the valedictorian of his class at Georgia.
Okay.
And then Campbell went to Ole Miss, actually. She's a FIMU.
Okay.
And I think she was just a typical college girl. And then she like went into marketing. Like she was just like a blogger, I think. And then now she's popular.
Well, where's the Pookie come from? Is that like
he calls her Pookie. That's his like pet name for her.
Like,
and so they like, do like they'll put on like what they wear and stuff.
I'm not
they do like they do OOTDs. You know what that is? Like outfit of the day. And listen to how he talks.
Outfit of the night, date night. With particularly made of night. Look at college president.
That's it.
Yeah. That's it.
Oh, wow.
They get all dressed up.
Jet is like obsessed with Pookie, and he calls her Pookie. Like he never calls her Campbell.
So, Neil, do you call your wife a particular name, or you call her like Pookie or Bunny or something?
You know, I like to.
Have you thought of the idea of giving her a nickname and trying to go on social media and becoming famous and YouTube bloggers?
I would fear for my life at night.
I would hope 90% of the husbands out there would fear for their life if they.
Caroline, how do you think that would go over if I called Laura a name and started saying it on Facebook or not Facebook on TikTok and stuff? Would she kill me?
I think most people would, but you got to think. I mean, they're making so much money off that name.
So they have how many followers on TikTok and whatnot?
She has 1.2 million.
Wow. And so she's basically, I mean,
have a baby.
You know, the thing about this, guys, is this is where media is going, though. Like, pay attention to what's like. We're in the final few days of the presidential election, and Donald Trump went to Austin and sat with Joe Rogan for 3 hours. As we're taping this on Wednesday, I believe J.D. Vance, his running mate, is doing the same thing. And one of the big questions with the Kamala Harris, the vice president who's running against Trump, obviously, is she has an open invitation to come to Austin and sit with Joe Rogan and to do a 3-hour show. And she doesn't want to. She wants Rogan to come to her and for 1 hour. But my point is, just a few years ago, Rogan absolutely would have gone because he wouldn't have mattered. But today, he doesn't need her. She needs him. And that's like people like Pookie. In all seriousness, they are absolutely influencing what young women wear, what they buy, and what they wear. And so, therefore, if you're one of these big companies and you want to get in front of girls like Caroline and all of her sorority sisters and the girls that are just like them at Ole Miss and Georgia and Florida and Tennessee and wherever, right? You no longer go to mainstream media to do it. You go to people like Pookie because they'll
social media stars. Like it's like and just people that like media influencers.
100%. I mean, so think about how much that's changed in just a short period of time. In the past, you would have gone to some magazine and you would have bought some big glossy ad and maybe you would have done some TV thing. Now you don't. Now you pay these influencers because they're going to put it on and they're going to talk about it and the girls are going to see it and they're going to go look for it and they're going to go to Amazon or whatever and buy it right then. And it works. I get it.
I mean, I bet somebody's going to be Pookie for Halloween.
Oh, there'll be tons of people who'll be Pookie and Jet for Halloween. No doubt.
Yeah.
No question.
Oh, man.
All right, we got to talk football. Caroline's got a little bit of a heart out, so we'll talk some football. I think it's fascinating. I'm speaking to a journalism class at Arkansas on Monday. And it's one of the things I'm going to talk about is that you have to pay attention in our field to the shifting sands of journalism and media. People consume media in different ways, and if you're a media provider, you have to be aware of that, or else you're going to become a dinosaur and get left in the dust. You're going to become extinct. You have to adjust.
Same thing with the meat market. I have to like start either shipping out or I just can't just be here locally in Oxford. I have to either ship out, start products like I have to adapt with the times because people are wanting, stuff delivered to their house. And, so just, you got to adjust to the times and be in the loop.
100%. You have to be adaptable, right? We always talk about Nick Saban. The key to Nick Saban's success was his adaptability. And I think it applies across the board. So like it's the fascinating thing of the Rogan thing is Rogan doesn't need Kamala Harris. He doesn't need the vice president of the United States of America. She needs him.
Well, she went on the who's her daddy though? Like
call her daddy.
Call her daddy.
Oh, don't even get me started. That podcast is not the right one to go on, in my opinion. But it does target people my age. But it's the topics of the podcast are not something that aligns with the president of the United States.
Yeah.
That's just shows you how weird this election is.
It is. Yeah. Just everything's weird. All right, here we go. Last week, Greg, you started slow and finished okay. You went 3-5. Ugh. Caroline, you started Saturday on a house of fire. You were 4-0 at the turn, but you finished 4-4. You didn't finish well, but you started incredibly well. You gained a game. You went 4-4. Greg went 3-5. Caroline, you are now 42-43. You're just 2 games off the pace. This is anybody's ball game as we go to November. Greg is 44-41, having like I said, a 2-game lead over Caroline as we head into week 10 of our contest here. So let's see. I had a lot going on early in the week. I had lots of notes. Sorry. So we get to the games. Caroline, you won last week, so you get to go first. Those are the rules. It is a Big Ten game of the week, probably the second biggest Big Ten game of the year so far. It's Ohio State, the 4th-ranked Buckeyes. They head to Penn State to play the 3rd-ranked Nittany Lions. This game is at 11 a.m. on Fox. Ohio State is a 4-point favorite.
I'm going to go with Ohio State. I always pick them because of dance.
All right, Greg, she's going to take the Buckeyes and lay the 4 in Happy Valley.
Yeah, I think Franklin's record's like 1-8 against Ohio State. Something really, really bad. Like bad. So I think there's a reason why they're favored at Penn State. So I'm going to go with Ohio State too.
All right, both of you going with the Buckeyes. All right, next we go to Fayetteville. It is 19th ranked Ole Miss. They are heading to Arkansas, 11 a.m., Reynolds Razorback Stadium, ESPN. Greg, Ole Miss is a 6.5-point favorite in Fayetteville.
Man, the record has not been good and with the Rebs in Fayetteville, that's for sure. So I got to go with the Rebs. I mean, surely that they're playing. I mean, the offensive line's bad. I mean, it's bad, but somehow you got to find a way to win by a touchdown against these guys.
All right, Carolina, as expected, Greg is taking Ole Miss. He's going to lay 6.5 points against your Razorbacks.
I might regret this, but I'm going to pick Ole Miss.
Oh, wow.
Because Ole Miss lost last time they were here, but it was 20 degrees.
It was cold.
They are not used to playing in those temperatures. It was so cold. And this weekend is going to be like in the 60s. So I can't base it off of that.
So you're going temperature angle.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going into the game here like 2 years ago, and I was like, it's going to be freezing. They're not used to that. Because Fayetteville weather is like, when it's cold, it is very cold. And I remember I was like, okay, they may not play well, but I can't pull that now.
Yeah, Arkansas probably going to win by 2 touchdowns now.
This is why this child is this. No, even if she gets this wrong, even if Arkansas goes and wins by 14 points, I don't hold this again. This is why this kid is going to be so successful. This kid is willing to just be cutthroat. I mean, she's willing to take emotions.
Found out who Kevin Costner is. Wow, I mean, she's got everything now.
But it shows you again, like Costner was big screen. They don't go to movies. They don't go to movies. They watch stuff on demand.
Yeah, like what'd you do this morning? Did you, like Kiffin's daughter? What'd you do this morning? Did you watch College Game Day? No, I laid in bed and watched TikTok for an hour. And he's like, my daughter doesn't watch College Game Day. Like, no, I'd much rather watch TikTok for an hour and a half.
Have you ever watched College Game Day on a Saturday morning, Caroline?
No.
Do you know what College Game Day is?
Yes.
Okay. They're kicking They're kicking field goals now for like $100,000 on College Game Day. It's pretty cool.
It is. Oh, wow. That is one of the cool things they're doing. I have like that. I'm not a huge fan of the show, but all right, Caroline, you've got friends coming up this weekend, right? You got Gracie and Caden.
Gracie and Caden, and then Avery's coming too, but she's not staying with me. But Gracie and Caden, 2 of my best friends, are staying in the Kyle house with me, and I'm excited.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Be fun.
No,
it's our last one in college, so.
Are they both Coyotes at Ole Miss? I know Gracie is.
Yeah, they both are.
They're both Coyotes at Ole Miss.
Yep.
I just think that's really cool.
And they both live in the Kyle house at Ole Miss. So I'm not worried at all about them staying here. I'm like, they're used to it now. Yeah.
The 3 of y'all basically grew up together. Y'all were always best friends. Y'all ended up different chapters of the same sorority. Stayed buddies all these years. I just think it's nice.
It's cool because like Gracie's like the recruitment chair of Ole Miss Coyotes. Like I've gotten her connected with our recruitment chair, Callie. And like same for like the president at Ole Miss Coyote. I know her, so I've gotten her in contact with our president. So it's been cool. Like just
I tell people this all the time. I know the fan bases get weird because Arkansas has a lot of like the quote sidewalk alums that never went to school there, and they can be pretty caustic and rough and kind of rough around the edges. But the 2 schools themselves are pretty similar.
Yeah, and something I've realized is everyone at Ole Miss and Arkansas we know each other in some way. There's a ton of like mutual friends. Like Caden is dating one of my friends' guy best friends. Like, if that makes sense. Who goes to Ole Miss, but she goes here. There's just a lot of connections because a lot of, like, Memphis, Little Rock people go to either Ole Miss or Arkansas.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the people.
I can see that.
And a lot of the Texas kids considered both schools or they know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Back to so you're both taking Ole Miss and laying the points. I took Ole Miss and laid the points as well. Although I will say what I've said on every other show, which is there is a psychological component to this game that is anti-Ole Miss, and it's not the 2008 thing. It's that Ole Miss has everything to lose, and Arkansas has nothing to lose, and there's a psychology in that. All right, Caroline, Vanderbilt coming off of a really competitive game at home against Texas. They head to Auburn. Hugh Freeze survived that stomach ache. He's still with us. Got a big win at Kentucky. Courageous on his part. Vanderbilt, a 6.5 point underdog at Auburn, 11:45 SEC Network.
I'm gonna pick Vanderbilt. I do not like Auburn.
That a girl. All right.
Yeah, I love Vandy. I think Hugh Freeze is the only coach to coach from a hospital bed and with an IV hanging from his arm, trying to gut out a win in Lexington.
It's courageous. You think about profiles in courage. You know,
Man.
John F. Kennedy wrote Profiles in Courage. Hugh Freeze will write Profiles in Courage too. All right, Oklahoma is back at home after losing in Oxford last week. Greg, the Sooners are 31.5-point favorites over the Maine Black Bears. This game's at 1:30 on ESPN Plus.
Wow.
In other words, ain't nobody watching this.
Yeah, here's the vodka for you. Man, I guess I'm gonna go Maine Black Bears.
Oh, wow.
I like a Maine Black Bear. I like the black. I kind of like the Black Bears.
All right, Caroline.
I'm a bear guy.
He's a bear guy. You look like a bear, kind of.
Yeah. I'm Uncle Bear. I mean, who doesn't like Uncle Bear?
All right, Caroline. Greg's going to take Maine. 31.5 points. You take the Sooners and lay them, or are you going to go with Maine?
I'll take Oklahoma.
Okay.
It's a lot of points, but
it is a lot of points.
But I don't know much about Maine, so
yeah, they're horrible.
Lobster.
Yeah. Do have lobster. All right, guys. It's Florida and Georgia getting together in Jacksonville, as they are always apt to do. It's at 2:30 on ABC. The Bulldogs ranked second in the country, coming off an open date. Florida is a 16-point underdog. Caroline, Florida plus 16 at Georgia, or versus Georgia.
I'll go with Georgia.
Okay.
So is this the artist formerly known as the largest cocktail party in the world?
Correct. Used to be known as the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Now that's too offensive.
Now it's just a football game in Jacksonville.
Yes.
Between rival states. Okay. I like Florida. I'm gonna go Florida here. I mean, for some strange reason, I don't know. I know Georgia's kind of owned them, but Florida's kind of sneaker. Maybe found something. I don't know. We're just going to take some points here.
All right. Caroline's going to take Georgia. I mean, Caroline's taking Georgia. Greg's taking Florida. All right. You need 2 Grey Goose bottles for this game. Massachusetts heads to Starkville to play Mississippi State. I guess they're the Minutemen. I don't know. It doesn't matter. They're an 18-point underdog in Starkville, 3:15 SEC Network, Greg.
Whew. I think the Minutemen are really bad, I think. Not that bad, maybe. I'm going to go with the Minutemen. I'll take underdogs.
Oh, okay.
I'll go with the Minutemen.
All right.
That's one of the universities that doesn't have an S. One of the mascots that doesn't have an S.
Caroline, Greg's going to take UMass. Are you going to you laid 16 with Georgia. You laid 31.5 with Oklahoma. Are you going to lay 18 with Mississippi State?
Might as well.
Yeah.
Did we just bait her into this one?
I don't think she can be baited. I think she's genuinely thinking about, is this one she wants to roll the dice on? She just saw her team put 58 up on Mississippi State, so that's probably leading to some of the confusion.
For sure.
So you're going to take the Bulldogs, lay the points?
Yeah, sure.
All right. The SEC game of the week is in Columbia, South Carolina. I think this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is Caroline's game. Texas A&M. Texas A&M coming off of a win over LSU, a game that I think you both got wrong. I don't remember. Texas A&M is a 3.5-point favorite in Columbia, 6:30 ABC on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm going to go with A&M.
Okay. All right. She's going to take the Aggies, lay the 3.5 in Columbia, Greg.
Yeah, gig them.
Okay. I've got a sneaky feeling you're both wrong. We're going to see. I got a funny feeling about Carolina in this game. I don't know what it is.
I know. I mean,
it might just be indigestion. I had some salmon a minute ago that was cooked a couple of days ago, and it might just be that.
Gosh.
I think the Texas and Texas A&M showdown. If they can win out, they see each other at the end of the season. That'd be a huge game.
Oh, it'd be unbelievable. All right, one last game. SEC. It's Kentucky, which defeated Ole Miss and hasn't done anything since. They head to Tennessee to play the one-loss Vols. This is at 6:30, 6:45 on SEC Network. Greg, Kentucky's a 16-point underdog.
Yeah, imagine paying Mark Stoops more than Lane Kiffin gets, So I know they've already started playing basketball in Kentucky, so kind of already started leaning to Rupp Arena already. Man, I think Tennessee's just too good. Kentucky's beaten and battered. I just don't see how they can hang with it.
All right, Caroline, he's going to take the Vols, lay the points.
I am too. I'll take Tennessee.
I was going to say, if you're laying all the other points on these other teams, you should probably lay them here.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys have a couple of differences. Caroline's got Oklahoma, Greg's got Maine, Caroline's got Georgia, Greg's got Florida, Caroline's got Mississippi State, Greg's got UMass. You both have Ohio State. You both have Ole Miss. You both have Vanderbilt. You both have Texas A&M, and you both have the Tennessee Volunteers. All right, Greg, what's going on at LB's this weekend? How can people get in touch with you? What's happening there?
Always text. You get 10% off, and you can be, like you said, non-sociable and get 10% off. So it's pretty win-win if you want that. But I'm getting stocked up for this weekend. I've got my 25th high school reunion this weekend that I found out about on Monday. So please don't do the math and figure out how old I am. It's getting on up there. My back just started hurting after I just said that. So just trying to get the store stocked up. My mom's going to run the stores while I go down and hang out with friends and be Greg Jones for the weekend. So I'm usually the meat man in Lexington, and I'm going to be Greg Jones back to normal Greg Jones in Madison this weekend. So just ready for the weekend and just get the store stocked up and ready for this Georgia weekend. If Georgia's going to be like Oklahoma, it's definitely need to get prepared for.
Caroline, what about you? When's the party start in Vegas?
My friends are here Friday afternoon, and then I don't really know. It's supposed to rain, so I hope the rain goes away on Saturday.
Yeah, 70% chance of rain Saturday.
Yeah, and then there's a popular TikTok influencer that will be in Fayetteville on Sunday that I'm going to see.
Oh, who's that?
He has millions. Let me go see how many followers he has.
Millions.
Jake Shane.
Okay, what does he do?
He is, let's see. How many followers does he have? 3.3 million followers.
Is that who you're going to see Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday night.
What does he do? He influences in what way? What's he?
He's like a comedian. Like, he posts the most stupid stuff in the world on TikTok. But he's friends with like Sophia Richie and like a ton of celebrities he's like really close with, and he's now on tour.
Who's Sophia Richie?
Lionel's daughter.
Oh,
I kind of figured. I was like,
all night long.
Oh,
she dated Scott Disick, the Kourtney Kardashian's old.
oh yeah.
All night long.
All night. Hey. I think we get the most women views on this show.
There's no doubt. Amazing. And Lionel still rocks, by the way, because I do on Peloton, I do these guided runs, and there's a 10-minute cool down run that when I have time, I do it at the end of my long run. And the second song, it's a 3-song little light run. He's like, the guy says, this is not a test, it's a rest. That's what he says. You're just calming down. And one of the songs is Dancing on the Ceiling by Lionel Richie.
Oh, yeah.
And that song's fantastic, man.
Oh,
that song
man, yeah.
bangs. So it opens up with Raspberry Beret by Prince.
Oh, yeah.
And then it goes straight to Dancing on the Ceiling by Lionel Richie. And then the last song's this really soothing song that I'd never heard before. But it's when it comes on, I know I have 2 minutes and 20 seconds of just calm, barely jogging.
Lionel made a lot of babies, probably for America.
There's no doubt. So did Prince. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. Caroline's got something to do. Caroline, thanks for your time. Greg, you too. Don't forget LB's Meat Market, 2008 University Avenue in Oxford, 662-259-2999. We'll be back next week. It'll be Ole Miss and Georgia in Oxford. I think the Razorbacks have a weekend off next weekend, Caroline. So we got that. So we'll talk about all the SEC games and whatever else comes up next week on The Butcher versus the Dance Instructor, presented by LB's Meat Market. For Caroline McCready, for Greg Jones, I'm Neil McCready. Take care.